Okay, so here we are, layout update number 5. And as you can see, it's done. First of all, I just want to say, sorry guys, I honestly think I could have squeezed in another update video for you guys. Obviously a lot has happened since the last time. Most notably, there's grass now. So what I did is I took, I believe it was latex paint, and painted it all down across the land. I did it in sections. And then I took the Woodland Scenics, I believe it's blended turf grass, and I just took a spoon and I just tapped the spoon and just kind of sprinkled it along that way. Honestly, I could have done it better with just having the corrugated lid on top and just kind of sprinkling it on that way, kind of like a salt shaker, but it is what it is, and it looks nice anyway. Second thing is I painted the cut, and I can't remember or not if the cut in the previous update was textured or not, but it is now. I just used the same joint compound as on the road there. So what I ended up doing was I took, I think I have the paint over here actually. Yeah, I took these two paints, they're acrylic paints, mixed them together to create kind of a diarrhea brown. And then what I did is I went on ahead to add the weather texture. I don't know if you can see it, it's round along there, and it's all across the lid here. Here, I'll back up the F unit. So it's on the, took that all along the cut to make it look a little more weathered, and I did the same thing on the outboard cut, the outside of the curve. One note I did find about the cut is that right along in here, the texture was sticking out too far. When I ran my biggest pasture or piece of rolling stock on this curve, and this was before I textured it, I found it ran through there just fine. But when I ran it over again, when the texture was put through, there was some lumps right in there that were just too big for it to go through. So literally the night before I was going to open it up and have one of my friends over, Steven, aka Ravenna Rail Fan 4070 over, I was freaking out. I went back through there, was like, again, this is all the night before, filed it down with a file real quick, mix up the paint, paint it over, and I have still yet to put the weathering down on that piece of cut. By the way, for the weathering, I just used pencil lead for that. I just shaved some pencil lead onto a latex glove I was wearing, and then I just kind of dabbed it on my finger, and then just kind of smeared it all across there. So next big part is there is ballast on the tracks now. So that was an interesting process. Initially, I was going to use that gray ballast I had. However, when I mixed it together with the paint, I just didn't like how it came out. So I'm like, you know what? Pardon me. I'm just going to go ahead and get some real ballast, and we'll just go from there. And that came with the same kit as what the grass came with. So I got that. So what it is, I took some Woodland Scenics glue, and honestly, I think you can even use Elmer's glue too. It worked fine for me. Sprayed it, squeezed it all along the track. Spread it out with a paintbrush, and then sprinkle the ballast. The same process I used for spraying out the grass. It worked fine and static. However, I noticed that just by itself, it was just kind of, it didn't look scale. It didn't look like naturally flowing. Like it just looked like a mound and stuff like that. So kind of like that back up there, where instead up here it's like nice and flowing. So what I ended up doing, I just sprinkled some more ballast on there, and I still have plenty left, surprisingly. However, that gave me the issue of having loose ballast on the layout, so I'm freaking out. I try to come up with my own glue to keep the ballast out. And by the way, do not use if you get the blended turf kit, you know, the ones with the ballast, the grass, and the brushes, and the spray adhesive. Do not use spray adhesive. That's from Woodland Scenics. It is garbage. I tried it. It clogged up my spray bottle nozzle. It does not mix well. It doesn't stick to things well. I just would not recommend it. So I, again, the same night before I was supposed to open my layout, quote unquote, I did a frantic Google search trying to figure out which ballast mix worked for the best, and what I found out was, I believe it was 1 part Elmer's glue, or pardon me, 1 part water, 1 part isopropyl alcohol, and then 8 parts Elmer's glue. And I did that, mixed it up real quick, sprayed it all along the layout. Went to bed with a prayer and my fingers crossed it would work, and I came back the next morning and it was firm as a rock, so I was pretty happy about that. And it still works pretty good. For some reason, I don't know why, maybe I just didn't put it in strong enough down here, but there's a little, yeah, there's a little spot up here that is kind of breaking loose, so I need to go back in there and fix it. Some other things I've done is obviously the buildings. So these are, I think they're lifelike kits. And they're older kits. I just had these kits lying around. Part of the goal for my layout was to make it as cheap as possible, so I just use kits I had lying around. So I use that lifelike kit, and then that's a Walther's oil refinery thing. In the last video I said I kind of had to jerry rig the roof for it. As you can see, it's right there. Kind of doesn't match the color, but you know, for what I'm doing, it looks fine to me, and I think this layout looks pretty decent. You can tell I kind of had the oil refinery kind of tucked away for a while. The decals kind of chipped away, and that's just because I stored them for so long and they kind of rolled around and got banged up a bit. But yeah, and then the trees. I might add some more trees in the future. Maybe a few, maybe like one in here, and then maybe up on the up on the cut. But initially, I thought these trees were too small because my dad kind of made a remark, and then I kind of looked at them and like, you know what, maybe they are kind of small. But then I take a look at them actually. Might be able to look at it from up there. I thought they were end scale trees for a little bit, but as I kind of looked at it, some of the trees were taller than the trains themselves. So I'm like, well, that seems better. It's better than nothing. So yeah. And then for obvious reasons, we're no longer in the workshop. We're in the laundry room now, and so moved out of there because I didn't want sawdust and stuff getting on the layout and it being banged around and getting beat up over a while. So future plans for the layout. As of now, I have a few plans for right now. I'm just gonna stop and enjoy the fruits of my labor. The next thing we'll probably do is work on the legs for the table. Now, my dad kind of made the remark the other night that he didn't like how far out the legs stick out from the table. And if you remember from the previous, I think it was maybe the first update, we kind of cut the top of the legs at an angle so they would just kind of slide up in there, so we didn't have to put reinforcers across the table. You know, it works. It's pretty stable. However, it just, again, it just kind of kicks out, and there's kind of takes up space. I mean, if we cut it down that way, it'd be nice, but it'd be low and stable. So in the future, near future, we're gonna kick some braces across there, make it stable, cut it flush, so it'll be at a 90-degree to the table. But that would be around Christmas break because I got way too much stuff going on with school right now. Some other plans. I want to add automobiles, cars, not these cars, you know, vroom vroom cars, kind of like that, to the layout. Maybe add some right there by the station, some up there by the oil refinery, and then maybe one or two along the road. It's kind of a lonely street street there. By the way, the street name is Newton Street after the street I grew up on growing up. And then maybe in the future, if I can find one, I would love to put in like a little farm where these 4 trees are right now. Just kind of put it in there. I kind of feel the layout is a little sparse, but maybe with some trees and maybe 1 or 2 more buildings, I really think it could spruce the layout up. But yeah, other than that, that's it. Thanks for enjoying the ride, for lack of a better term. So for now, enjoy the running session I had between myself and Ravenna Railfan 4070 for the grand opening of the layout. All right, thanks guys.